All right, welcome to the latest episode of the Coleman Power Organic Fitness Podcast. I have in front of me my latest guest, the influencer Forrest Young. I suppose he is from the sunny side of America, even though he's just after telling me it's piss and rain, but that's no different to Ireland today. So Forrest, I suppose, say hello to the listeners.
Hello, everybody, and thanks for having me, Coleman. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, super welcome. And I suppose I got you on as someone that is able to put across the likes of fitness and health in a humorous manner, which is really important. But I want you, suppose, to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and how you got into fitness and where you are currently now, I suppose. Backstory.
Well, I mean, the crazy thing is like, I've owned a gym now for 13 years, and I was really like focused on just running the gym social media. And then in 2020, when the pandemic hit, I realized we got shut down, and I had no other means. I had no way to like coach people. So one of the things I had to do was I had to make a shift, and I personally had to get on social media, and I was deathly afraid of it. Like, I did not want to get on. And so out of necessity, I had to get on social media and create this basically persona out of necessity, just to stay alive during the pandemic.
That's brilliant. And you wouldn't think that at all, man. You're extremely confident. And I love your videos on both on TikTok and on Reels for Instagram. And what would your main message be to, I suppose, the listeners and people that consume your content on a regular basis? I kind of have a fair idea, but I want you to say in your own words, what would be your elevator pitch, as we'll say?
Well, I mean, the thing is, when I first started, well, basically, like, let me back up. So when I like owning a gym, you basically are around people who are super motivated. They are constantly seeing progress. They're not the norm, right? And I live in a very fit area of Los Angeles as well. So everywhere you go, people are relatively fit. And getting on social media, I realized that there are a lot of people who are struggling with just losing weight or stopping gaining weight or mental health or just enjoying fitness in general, because there's so much confusion and there's so many people arguing online what's the best way to work out and what's the best way to eat, and there's so many fad diets and there's so many like basically scams online, and a lot of people were just getting discouraged. So the thing that I wanted to do was bring like fun and an entertainment and accessibility back to fitness, and just to make sure that people understood that it didn't have to be taken so seriously and you could just have fun with it. And that is, I think, way more sustainable than saying like, you have to kill yourself in the gym, you have to do these brutal workouts, you have to throw up during workout, you have to push yourself to failure every single time you go into the gym. Let's first start off with just having fun.
That's important. I suppose, how big do you think yourself, I suppose your surroundings, your environment are to your sustainability on whatever fitness journey, wherever your starting point is, whether you're only at the beginning, whether you're in the middle, or you're at the upper end of the fitness scene? How much of a factor do you think it really actually is?
I think as well as like your environment and the people who are surrounding you can really dictate whether you're successful at anything or not. Like, if in the beginning when I was getting on social media, I had a lot of people just like basically making fun of me, saying that, what's the point? Why are you doing this? Why are you getting on TikTok? TikTok is like a kids dancing app. Like, why even do that? So it was really discouraging in the beginning. And I thought to myself, like, this is how people feel about fitness. This is how people, when they first start like so if you're out of shape and you just start at the gym or you started like a new fitness program, you're going to have a lot of people like hating on you. You're going to have a lot of people, even the people who are close to you, not really supporting you. Like, they'll say like, oh, that's not you. Why are you trying to eat healthy? Have fun. Like, why are you doing this to yourself in the gym? So I think it's really important to find a community, and that community can be like support from somebody online. It could be support from just somebody who's on TikTok or Instagram that you find inspiration in. And it could be like a coach you hire, it could be a new group of friends, it could be whatever, but you need a good environment to support you in anything new or anything that you like, even if it's not new, even if it's if you've been doing fitness forever and you just hit a slump, it's good to find inspiration in somebody else or a group of people that can help you get through that slump.
No, they say, I suppose, one of the quotes that come to mind is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And it's really, I suppose, singing through what you just said there. That's really important. But we're coming into, I suppose, New Year's and Christmas all in one. And what do you recommend to, I suppose, people and would like to, suppose, stay healthy? Do you have any healthy hacks for either your clients that, I suppose, would love to come through the holidays alive and, I suppose, in relatively decent shape? Because there's a huge influence there from, I suppose, a lot of people towards food choices that would be quote unquote unhealthy, a lot of alcohol beverages. But how do you, I suppose, deal with it yourself, and what do you recommend to others?
Well, I mean, I think it's tough, man. I think with each person, it's a little different. There's definitely influencers out there who are, they're saying like, don't give in to any of that stuff. Don't eat any pie. Don't have any drinks. Don't have any this or that. And it just depends, man. I think moderation is key for a lot of people. You can turn a lot of people off if you get too strict with them. If you're saying like, don't eat pie, don't eat cookies, don't eat these types of things during the holidays. Some people will just be like, yo, you know what? Screw it, man. I'm not even gonna deal with fitness if it has to be that strict. On the other hand, people who are taking the entire month to eat cookies and pie and drink basically every day, that's also probably not a good idea. So, and then they end up gaining. Some people will gain 10, 15 pounds just during the holidays. And to start to try to lose that again will take a long time. So I think moderation is key for a lot of people. I personally don't drink often, but I understand why people do. I get why people do. And like, if you tell them no, like you can't drink at all, they're just going to want to drink more. So
Yeah,
just
totally.
understanding moderation, understanding the health implications it has, and educating people instead of just saying like, you can't do it.
No, that's key. That last thing you said, education, and telling people and getting them to understand foods, I suppose, before they really throw the kitchen sink at it. Remember that processed foods and alcohol would both be labeled as carbohydrates. And then so is the likes of brown bread, sourdough, pasta, rice, and any of those oats would also fall into that category, which are definitely a stonewall fact that they're the body's first source of energy, but they're lumped all together. People say carbs. No, I'm taking carbs out of my diet completely. And that's really what we need to, suppose, get people to clue into, that not all foods are created equally. They're supposed to be broken down by the body in different stages, in different forms, depending if they have fiber or not. And most processed foods, and definitely liquid calories such as alcohol, that doesn't contain fiber.
Yeah, man. And you're doing a great job too with like showing people how to organically farm their own foods, and like the difference in nutrients with like when you have a good quality soil versus just spraying these things with pesticides in soil that just doesn't have very much nutrients. And it's like, yeah, you know what? Not everybody can do what you do, but at least they know it's an option now, right? At least it's like, I don't have land here that you like, kind of like you have, but I can grow a few things in pots here and there.
Now we're talking. Yes, you can.
Yeah,
I'm just saying the words I can.
Yeah, if I could have a farm, I would. But it's cool to see people like you who are actually doing it, right? Because people don't think that those things are actually possible for them. When you're just like, no, it is accessible. You don't have to have a farm, but just try it. Just try these things. So you understand the food. You understand where food comes from. You understand like the growth process of food. You understand how to nurture something and then harvest it. Like, I think those things are important. And, it's like you and I are in the business of fitness, but we also have to do this influencer game, right? We also have to get eyeballs. And it's hard because we have to like find a way to do it ethically, because you could get on and say like non-organic foods are killing you, And you know that that's somewhat of a lie, but but saying something like organic foods are so much more nutritious for you and better for your health just doesn't have the same ring to it, right? Some people, you want that shock value so people listen to you, but sometimes it's a fine dance. It's a fine dance.
What are your, I suppose, your thoughts about farmers markets? Are there ones locally close to you that you've ever seen or had the opportunity to visit?
Well, I grew up in Central California, which is surrounded by farmland. And there's traditional farmlands, there's organic farmlands, so I've seen how much pesticide goes into stuff. I've seen some of the poisons that go into the water that turn around and then get fed and to the livestock. I've seen all that firsthand, so I understand a lot of that. So yeah, it's sometimes I have to turn a blind eye to it though, because you don't have all those options all the time. I think like we do have a lot of farmers markets around here, and like the word organic now is a slippery slope. There's like a sliding scale of organic now. So it's like, especially here in the States, it's not always like 100% organic, even like grass fed. It's like, is the cattle grass fed or is it grass finished? There's so many different rules to things now, and you really have to like be educated on the quality of your food. So, you try your best. You can't be perfect though. It's hard to be perfect with that stuff.
No, you're so
Unless
right.
you're on a farm.
Yeah, totally. Perfect doesn't exist. And I suppose one of my jobs or roles is trying to connect people back to the farmer so that you can have a better understanding of whether he has a label on a product or not. He's going to tell you, if we'll call it Tom, or Sarah, who's literally at the farmer's market, what do you do to produce the product, these eggs, this chicken, these vegetables? Could you tell me in a nutshell? Is there any chance I could visit the farm? Could you show me photographs? And people have totally lost connection. They don't even know what foods are in season. They're coming up to, I suppose, Christmas, and they say, do you know what? Coleman, any chance I could have strawberries or tomatoes? They're a midsummer crop, and that just means that people have a very poor understanding of what foods are and where and how they were grown, and I suppose what times of the year that they are even in season for that matter.
Mm-hmm. Like seasonality it's a big thing, and people just think it's supposed to be available year round. Because I think especially here in the US, it's like we have so much abundance where it's just like you go in the grocery store and it's just things are there all the time. But like nobody stops and asks like, wait, why are these things here year round? Even in the middle of winter, where are they coming from?
Where are they coming from?
Right? So that's I think that's definitely an issue. And I mean, if you think about it on like a site, on like this ladder, it's like people in the very beginning are like, I just want to get healthy. I just want to lose weight. I just want to, and it's like, they're not really worrying about the quality of their food in the beginning until they start to experience like sickness, right? Issues. And then they start to look into more like, well, what's causing this? And I think, people won't do that until they have to. Most people anyway.
Yeah, no, that's such a good point. I suppose you're looking after your health at the younger years, so that you won't, I suppose, have to end up paying higher bills at medication and doctor's visits when you're later in life. And that's something I'm trying to do, and getting people to look after exactly the one thing that's so important to them, that's themselves. From the moment, I suppose, they get up, I recommend that, like, the things that reduce inflammation. And what is that? Higher antioxidant foods, which are in abundance in local produce. Why? Because it's only brought from A to B, shorter distance. In organic produce, why? Because it isn't sprayed with harsh chemicals. You can get things, I suppose, then on top of that, that would be higher nutrition value when you understand foods that are broken down into carbohydrates, proteins, and healthy fats. I suppose that's what I want you to even expand on next. What are your thoughts on, I suppose, the at the moment in time about these myths that are out there? Where do you stand on the war of vegan, vegetarian, paleo, carnivore, whatever the next diet is out there? What are your thoughts?
Well, I
on
mean,
that?
a lot of those things, like I've tried a lot of those fad diets. I've done all those. I've done a lot of paleo, keto. I tried vegan for a while, for only about a month, I think. Yeah, I tried the carnivore diet. I do these things just to try them out. Um, I don't like any of them. I don't like any of them because long term they don't. First of all, I think a lot of them are based around these really strict rules that aren't really, people can't follow them long term. I think an education on nutrition is probably the best thing that you can have. Understanding carbs, fats, and proteins, understanding like micronutrients as well, and just how that reacts in your body. Um, I think that's, and then also a lot of those fad diets cause a lot of eating disorders. There's so many people out there who have weird eating issues, and it's like ingrained in them now. And it's like it's really hard to deprogram these weird like eating disorders that have come up from these fad diets. And yeah, I'm not a huge fan of them. I think they cause more harm than good. People will say that they work, but in what time frame? Like keto could work to lose weight, but at what cost? Like I've had people at my gym do keto where their hair started falling out, like they started having major health issues, but they lost weight, and it's like, at what, you have to ask yourself at what cost, and the mental cost of that, because now you're, for some reason, you're programmed to think that carbs are bad, all carbs are bad, and that's not the case.
Yeah, and that's it. Demonizing, I suppose, one of the main macronutrients is not ever something that I recommend to people. Why? Because you touched on it there. It's sustainability. That means we'll touch on that. We'll go into, I suppose, keto, just because I suppose it's quite topical in the diets, because it helps people to lose weight. And more often than not, people don't understand. I suppose, of course, you're going to lose weight because it helps you get into a calorie deficit. And that is one of the main distinct reasons why people on any diet, whether it be vegan, whether it be vegetarian, whether it be the carnivore or the keto diet that we're discussing here. And when you, I suppose, take out those carbohydrates, that means coming up to parties at Christmas, New Year's, your birthday, christenings, anniversaries, girlfriends, boyfriends, nights out. That means you're restricting yourself. And when you restrict yourself, it makes it much more difficult to be sustainable long term. And that's what fitness is about. It's not just about the 6 week, oh, I'm on a 6 week plan with Coleman. Oh, Forrest is starting me out for 6 weeks. We're gonna have a new trim, slim gym, gonna slip into that dress like nobody's business. But you have to slow down and go, I'm not just going to be training and eating healthy for 6 weeks. I'm going to be doing it longer than 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 90 days. I'm going to be doing it for years. And that's what you has to fit your lifestyle. And you have to have a routine that suits you, with friends or family members that you can go on walks with, or do some sort of event, whether you're training for half marathon or 5K, whatever your fitness levels are, or full marathon. The thing is, you have to have these small goals along the way and enjoy it. Make it a bit of fun out of it. And if you don't do it and enjoy it some bit, have some kind of stick leading the carrot or following the donkey, you're not going to enjoy it. And something you don't enjoy, you won't, I suppose, be able to do it long term.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think a lot of these people just think that, I've been there, where it's like, oh, 6 weeks and get shredded, and then that's all I got to do, and then I can just go back to living the way I lived before, and I'm just shredded now. And it's like, no, that's exactly not how it works. Like, I've done these things. So we used to do these, like 6 week challenges at the gym and 21-day challenges. And I stopped doing those things like years ago because they were more harm than good. Like, what people would do is they would basically starve themselves and work out just like 2-3 hours a day just to try to win these challenges. And they would drop a ton of weight, and what would happen is, once they won those challenges, they would quit the gym and gain back all of it, if not more. So I just stopped doing those things because it's like a disservice. It's not real, and it's a gimmick. It's just a gimmick to get people to like go way overboard and then bounce, like roller coaster back up. And it's not good. It's not healthy.
What a lot of people, suppose, that I come into contact with first will be the fact that they might start something, but they seem to drop off after 2 or 3 weeks, and what do you do as methods to, I suppose, keep motivation and keep those people engaged? Because that's what most people, they get on the healthy trend, we'll say in January. It's like January, yes, new you, we'll get on it. We'll start training and we'll start eating healthy. But what ends up happening is they go up, but then they fall off track big time.
I think that's kind of like human nature. I mean, as a coach, you and I both have to find ways to motivate people. Some people need tough love, some people need nurturing. And I think it's like when people are a little are really, really excited in the beginning, I usually try to bring them down a little bit, because when people get too excited in the beginning, a lot of times that enthusiasm just dissipates and just goes away. So if, instead of getting them super, super excited and really pumped up, I try to calm them down a little bit and try to keep a little bit smaller benchmarks for them to hit, to where it's like, in the next 2 weeks, we want to be at this spot with our strength, with our weight, with whatever it is. And then, in the next 2 weeks, we want to be here. So they're constantly working towards these smaller goals, instead of being really gung-ho about this huge goal and then just being it's been 2 weeks, I haven't hit it, I'll just give up.
No, that's a good point. I suppose saving the juice for the sprints closer towards the end. And it happens so often that people are starting these trends and it just doesn't last. And what I end up doing, I suppose, with myself, with clients that I have, is changing up their training, because it makes things a little bit more interesting. Adding in finishers, or I suppose different types of training, such as if you started off on 20-minute, you go to 25, you go to 30, incremental improvements, whether it be the duration or the weights. And that, I suppose, leads me on to my next question. What are your thoughts on, I suppose, either home workouts or body weights versus either gym workouts? What would be your preference then, I suppose, in that area?
My preference is gym workouts. So, I mean, I'm assuming that most people have access to a gym. Now, that being said, the last 2 people I've signed up do not, right? They are too busy. They just have a home style thing going on. So it's basically like dumbbells, which is totally fine. And I think, body weight stuff, I think you can get pretty far with body weight to a certain point, depending on what your goals are. Some people want these crazy physiques with only body weight. And that's hard to do, especially if you're not training hours on hours on hours doing calisthenic work. And it's just genetically gifted. So,
like you,
I think, I wish, but the gym is the easiest, because you can address weaknesses there. There's a machine, there's a weight, there's a space to do work where you're not distracted. You're not distracted by your kid or your dog or cooking dinner or whatever. You just go to the gym to put in your work. And once you leave there, you're done with it. So, I mean, exercise is exercise. Not everybody's training to be a CrossFit Games athlete or a bodybuilder or the strongest man alive. Most people are just training to be fit. They want to be fit, somewhat confident, feel better. And so that could be a mix of the gym, body weight, home workouts, walking. I think that's 99% of the people.
And where do you see most people's problem with weight loss, I suppose, first? What do you think would be the main reason why people are struggling with weight loss in general?
I think the main reason is mindset. I think a lot of people have a mindset where it's first of all, you and I both know social media doesn't do anybody any favors with body image, right? It's a lot of it's super fake. A lot of it's these kids who are in their 20s and just completely jacked. A lot of them on gear, a lot of it's not attainable for unless there's some major like sacrifices, but a lot of it's just not realistic for most people to shoot for. I think some of these people are like walking around sub 10, a lot of the guys walking around sub 10% body fat with a decent amount of muscle on them. I think mindset of like, what's realistic, what feels good for your, what's healthy, and basically what, like, a lot of people like are self-sabotaging. It's like they want something and then they like start to get to a point where I'm like, that's not me. That's not me. I'm not this fit person. I'm not a fit person. And then they just kind of give up. They get to this point where they just give up and they just don't believe in themselves anymore.
Self-sabotage, it's one of the cruelest things you can possibly do. And it happens so many different people in so many different ways. It's like starting the words to saying that I can't. And that kills me, because I came from a background of, I suppose, being a small country individual who couldn't get any of the sports teams. And I had to flip that on its head. I wasn't extremely confident. And if I was to say that to you right now, or the other person individual who is struggling right now, in 5 years' time, you remember the fact that you can be an expert in any field you currently want to, whether it be in studies or in, I suppose, a different fitness and health career or lifestyle position. And realizing that doing something is better than not doing anything at all, because you cannot gain advantage to something you do not do. But that between a healthy food choice, between getting outside, getting your steps up, getting that workout in, or I suppose choosing to be a healthier version of yourself from the moment you get up. Sunlight, exposure, massively important. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Most of us eat 3 meals, and often the ask, oh man, should I eat 6? Should I eat 3? It doesn't matter, I suppose, with the quantity of foods that you eat. It's more so the grand scheme of things. It works down to, I suppose, what your activity levels are to match your foods in a 24-hour day.
Yeah. And I think I totally agree. And I think a lot of these people, they get like really focused in on like one little thing where it's like, I thought just eating 3 meals is bad. More meals is good. And it's like,
It's a bit metabolism. Sure, I have to lose weight right now because I'm eating 6. Coleman, I'm eating 6.
Yeah.
Oh, was it 7? I lost count.
Yep. And it's like, or it's like, I'm supposed to do hours of cardio. I'm supposed to do no cardio. And it's like, no, what? But that's, as coaches, I think we're the ones that are supposed to help guide them through those times, right? Help guide them and like help calm them down, help bring them back to earth. And like gaining their trust is not always easy, because you're contradicting what they've been indoctrinated for the last, I don't know, years, right? Years of misinformation.
Diet myth. What's the biggest diet myth, I suppose, that you've come across and that find it difficult to switch someone's mindset from they thought it one way and now you're trying to put them on towards another? What would that be?
Dude, the most frustrating thing the absolute most frustrating thing for me is there aren't good or bad foods. Trying to convince people to not demonize foods is so fucking hard, because people just get in their minds where it's like, oh no, that's bad, that's good, that's bad, and that's good, and that's what I've been told. How can you tell me McDonald's isn't bad? I'm like, it's okay, it's not bad, there's just better options. But if that's what you got, that's what you got. Like, it still has nutrition. Like, it's like, I think people, and that's how people are like borderline eating disordered. So they just like demonize these foods, but at the same time they will binge eat those foods and not tell you about it. Like they'll say Oreos are bad, but crush like a whole thing of Oreos like some random Sunday night. And it's just, that's what you try to tell them. Where it's like, as soon as we start assigning moral values to food, that's when we start to have a toxic relationship with food. And people are like, nope, it's bad. Those are bad. And it's just like, you got to be really delicate in how you handle that.
Yeah, that happens as well. The fact that people that I come into contact with, oh, avocados, they're high calorie. Oh, cheese is high calorie as well. That's bad. I can't have that. I was told that makes you fat. Fats make you fat is the worst one that I come across. I'm going,
Yeah.
no. If anything, you need fats in your diet, and cheese
Yeah.
would be, and it has some protein in it. Avocados most certainly are definitely something that can increase your absorption of vitamin A, D, E, and K, and I suppose improve your cognitive function, because your brain is made up of 60, if not 70% fat. And I wouldn't be worried about it being high calories. It's more so the quality nutrition as opposed to those literally bag of Oreos that you just smashed there that Sunday night because you literally didn't, you were restricting yourself so much on food, literally you were in starvation mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's I think what people do is they look at like single foods like an avocado and be like, those are high calorie, versus looking at their total calorie intake for the week. And like, it's not the avocado. Let's look at the total calorie of the week. Like if you're sacrificing the avocado to eat an entire package of Oreos, that doesn't make sense. Right? So
education towards food, understanding where it comes from is massive. And I suppose I want you to tell me or some of your 5 takeaway healthy tips now that we're coming into, I suppose, Christmas, New Year 2022. Oh my God, I can't believe we're on 2022. But hit me up with top 5. I'm looking for you.
Top 5 tips. I think number 1, are we going top 5 tips for health or weight loss?
You can go for, I suppose, amalgamation of 2, because that is, I suppose, what most people listening to this podcast and would be
perfect. I think nutrition wise, I think number 1, you should eat protein. I think most of the people I talk to don't get enough protein, especially high quality proteins, and a variety of them. Like I usually recommend for most of the people 0.6 grams to about 1 gram per pound of body weight, depending on the person. So I think that you're in kilograms. So that comes out to whatever, I don't know what that 2.2
we'll Google
pounds.
It. I'm the same. I do kgs and I go, just Google that. I don't know what that is in kgs.
Yeah. So it's so whatever the conversion is. Number 2, I would say try to do something that you move every single day. Doesn't always have to be weights, doesn't always have to be running or cardio, could be 30-45 minute walk. I think that's extremely important. Number 3, I think celebrate your wins, even if they're small wins. That's just for mental health. Most people, myself included, don't stop and just celebrate a win, right? Most people are harder on themselves, where it's like they just, I lost 2 pounds, but look at this model. She's way better looking than me. Instead of being like, man, I lost 2 pounds. That's amazing. So I think celebrating those wins are really important. Number 4, good quality sleep is the best thing over supplements, whatever. Good quality. If you don't get good quality sleep, it's just going to F up all your progress. So good quality sleep, I think getting uninterrupted 8 to 9 hours, if you can, I guess 7 to 9. Some people can't get that much, but like quality sleep, extremely important. And I think number 5 would be just find the joy in life. Like I think people want to punish themselves because they feel like they should punish themselves, but finding the joy in life, finding the joy in fitness, finding gratitude in like being able to move, being able to like have a meal, having your health is, I think, extremely important for longevity and mental health.
I was to say that was a lovely way to finish her up, especially in with gratitude and enjoying it. Like that is, for most people, they don't enjoy it enough because if they did, they would do it much more regularly. And adding in, I suppose, it doesn't always have to be the likes of a flat out workout outside. Do as much as you possibly can to move. When you move more, you get more.
Agree.
course, man. Firstly, even before we wrap her up, to say thanks very much, man. And when you are coming to Ireland, just really call me, man. I'll sort you out.
I will.
100%.
I will.
That's going to happen. Stay tuned for this, lads. When Forrest comes over and the adventures, cool, man.
Yeah.
It'll be all over Instagram and TikTok.
Hell yeah. We'll collab. I love it.
That'd be too funny, too funny. I always end these podcasts by saying, stay tuned, stay classy, and keep it organic.